Electrocast.
Welcome to Tune In to Sound Wellbeing, the podcast where Amanda Mackay, our sound therapy expert, unlocks the healing potential of sound therapy and tuning forks in wellness. I'm Stephen, your co-host, joining Amanda on this journey into the world of frequencies and vibrations. So whether you're a curious learner or wellness enthusiast, our show offers you fresh insights and practical knowledge. Come with us to uncover the mysteries of sound, embrace new wellness perspectives, and experience the transformative magic of frequencies and vibration. Tune into Sound Wellbeing is here to harmonise your mind, body, and soul. Salute, salve, greetings, ciao tutti e benvenuto to Tune In to Sound Wellbeing, the podcast where our sound therapist extraordinaire Amanda Mackay benevolently and thoughtfully shares, divulges and delights us all with her take on what's happening along the sonic superhighway. Hello Amanda, how are you going today?
Hi again, Steve. Very good. Still buzzing after another Mind, Body, Spirit festival.
Yes.
So I would like to start by saying thank you so much to everyone that we saw over those 3 days.
Yes.
The collective energy in that place is incredible. The togetherness and the spirit of the festival is truly uplifting and inspiring.
It is.
Exhausting and exhilarating at the same time, really.
Yes, it is. The esprit de corps is palpable, and yes, the energy is at a high level for the entire show. I've got to say, I do find it an interesting kind of energy. Well, speaking for us anyway, because it's just go, 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 but it's not a kind of stressful go, go, go. It's just a really kind of, high energy yet cool scene where all walks of life come together. It really is a fantastic event.
It is, yeah, and we're backing it up with Sydney in a week.
Yeah.
So
That's right. It's a rock and roll tour. We're on a road trip to Sydney. We'll have to get the T-shirts printed. Oh, anyway, trip to
Yes.
Sydney is always an adventure, and I love an adventure.
yes, you do.
Okay, so speaking of adventures, what happenings will we be exploring with you today?
So today I thought we would talk about the collective unconsciousness and sound therapy.
Okay, I'm curious already. Sounds like we're building a little bit on from last week's episode.
Yes, we are. So each of these episodes are a little part of the big picture. So each small piece is detailed, appealing and interesting, but if you stand back from it just a little bit, you can see how the whole picture and today's episode certainly makes its mark in that picture.
Okay, well, I can't hardly wait, as they say. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Tuning In with Amanda Mackay.
Consciousness, a term coined by the renowned Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, refers to the part of the unconscious mind shared by all human beings, containing universal experiences and symbols. It's a vast reservoir of memories, archetypes, and symbols that shape our perceptions, behaviours, and in many ways our interconnectedness. So as we explore the depths of this collective realm, we'll unveil how it influences our thoughts, dreams, and even our creative expressions. Now, how is the collective unconsciousness intertwined with sound therapy and tuning forks?
Hey, I get to ask the questions, remember? That's my job.
Well, it was rhetorical.
All right, I'll calm down.
I didn't mean to take over your role at all. Okay. Now, sound with its transcendent qualities has the power to resonate with the collective unconsciousness. The vibrations of sound can tap into the archetypes and symbols buried within this shared human repository. And what better tool to facilitate this connection than tuning forks?
Indeed.
Tuning forks with their precise frequencies act as conduits between the conscious and unconscious realms. They harmonize with the collective vibrations, creating a resonance that can stir the echoes of universal symbols within us. So let's delve into a bit of detail around collective unconsciousness. Now, the concept of collective unconsciousness was popularized by, as I mentioned before, the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, and it delves into the shared collective memories, archetypes, and symbols that exist in the unconscious mind and connect all human beings. The term was introduced in the early 20th century, and Jung essentially proposed that the collective unconscious represents the universal experiences inherited by all humans, and that it transcends cultural and individual differences. Carl Jung identified archetypes as universal symbols and themes residing in the collective unconscious. These archetypes, such as the hero, the mother, and the shadow, all manifest in myths, dreams, and cultural narratives across different societies. Now, while the terminology might be relatively modern, the idea of shared symbols and archetypes has roots in ancient philosophies and mythologies worldwide. So concepts like the hero's journey, present in various cultures, and this aligns with Jung's archetypal theory. Now, this influence persists in modern psychology, with scholars like Joseph Campbell expanding on the idea of universal myths and archetypes. So, while the concept is more psychological than scientific, some aspects do align with findings in neuroscience. For instance, the existence of universal neural structures that respond to certain archetypal symbols suggest a neurological basis for shared experiences. Now, Steve, have you heard of mirror neurons?
I feel like I should have, but no, I have not.
All right, this is so interesting. You're going to love this. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire both when an individual performs an action and when they observe another individual performing the same action. Some theorists propose that mirror neurons contribute to shared experiences by enabling individuals to empathize with the experiences of others. So, some examples here of mirror neurons at play might be when you observe someone smiling, laughing, or expressing sadness. Your mirror neurons may fire, and that is leading to a subtle mimicry of those facial expressions. Or another might be watching a musician play an instrument or sing. This can activate mirror neurons related to motor skills and auditory processing. Now, this may contribute to the appreciation of music and the ability to imitate musical expressions like air guitar. You know?
Yes, I get that one for sure. I'm pretty good at the old air guitar.
and
air drums, air bass.
But you're very good at playing those instruments in real life too.
Triangle.
Now, I know one that happens for me is observing dance movements, especially, intricate choreography. My mirror neurons definitely fire here when I see all the associated effort required with the motor skills, the planning, and coordination. This contributes to my enjoyment and understanding of dance.
Like when you see someone do the nut bush.
I was thinking more Swan Lake because I watch much more ballet. But yes, I guess the nut bush could possibly be considered that kind of demonstrative evidence to underscore the example. Anyway, so there is a lot of research into this kind of cultural psychology, and it explores the cross-cultural similarities in symbols and narratives. It's supporting the notion that certain themes are universally embedded in the human psyche. So, like the hero's journey, it has shared psychological themes across many cultures. This kind of thing can be linked to shared feelings that people might have, and there's research by Paul Ekman, and he's an American clinical psychologist. and has done a lot of work on non-verbal expressions, and these are termed as micro expressions. But the long and the short of it is that he and his colleague have focused a lot on the facial expressions of emotions. They found that certain facial expressions, like those associated with happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and even disgust, are recognized across different cultures. So, and I know it sounds a bit obvious, but this suggests a biological basis for certain emotional expressions and a link to the collective unconsciousness. So this kind of thing still influences practitioners of depth psychology, which explores the relationship between the conscious and the unconscious. And then we start to head into transpersonal psychology, where we try to integrate the spiritual and the transcendent aspects of the human experience within the framework of modern psychology. Now, these topics are probably a whole podcast series in itself.
Yes,
or
it sounds like it.
Or even a whole podcast, not even a series. But the point I'm trying to make here is that there is a strong body of evidence that collective unconsciousness is real, and it's not difficult to understand that sound, and particularly tuning forks, can act as a kind of like a tuning knob on our unconscious radio receiver,
Yes.
and it can act as a volume control, and that helps us tap into that energy.
Yeah, right.
So some examples of sound being used in the collective unconsciousness might be mantras and chants in rituals, which are so well known now. Cross-cultural rituals often involve the repetitive use of mantras or chants. For example, the chanting of Om in Hinduism, Om in Buddhism, same thing, but just sort of a little bit different.
Same but different?
Yeah, or certain prayers in other traditions that involve repetitive vocalization.
Gregorian chants.
Yes, but even normal prayers, they were repetitive, in the Bible. So that rhythmic and melodic quality of those sounds may invoke shared archetypal associations and connect participants to collective spiritual or cultural dimensions. Another would be traditional drumming and shamanic practices. In many indigenous cultures, traditional drumming and rhythmic beats are often rituals. The repetitive beats of drums and other percussion instruments are believed to induce altered states of consciousness. These rituals aim to tap into the collective unconscious, accessing, beyond the individual experience. And then there, of course, is the solfeggio frequencies. The use of specific frequencies like the solfeggio scale is believed by some to have sacred origins. Each frequency is associated with specific spiritual or healing properties, and particularly archetypal imagery. Tuning forks are very good for this. Then we have the trusty Tibetan singing bowl. They produce harmonic overtones and rich vibrations. Sound therapists use these bowls in therapeutic sessions, guiding individuals into states of deep relaxation. And it helps to facilitate a connection to the unconscious mind, like gong baths.
Yes.
As well,
old gong bath.
They involve the immersive experience of gong sounds in a therapeutic session, and practitioners believe that the complex and layered tones of gongs can induce altered states of consciousness.
Right.
I love them too. They're really great.
They are.
So another is the binaural beats, and that involves playing two slightly different frequencies in each ear. So again, the tuning forks are perfect for this.
They are.
As the harmony can create a perceived third frequency. So the technique is often used for brainwave entrainment.
Right.
And some studies suggest that binaural beats may influence cognitive processes, potentially providing a tool to explore collective aspects of consciousness. And finally, there is music and the emotional resonance that it creates. Certain pieces of music have the power to evoke strong emotions and a sense of shared experience. For example, orchestral compositions or traditional folk songs can tap into cultural archetypes. It'll resonate with listeners on a collective level. So, this shared emotional response suggests a connection to.
Life is hard, but finding a really great podcast makes the days go by so much easier. Hi, my name is Blue Telusma. I'm a writer, an emotional intelligence coach, and the host of Humanize with Blue Telusma, a podcast where we believe that when you humanize everyone in the room, a great conversation is almost guaranteed. Join us every week here on Electricast as me and my guest co-hosts unpack big topics and interview even bigger personalities with a sense of humor and a dash of mischief. If you're looking for a new best friend in your head, we've got you covered. Electricast.
Elements. Now, in the name of balance here, some scholars criticize the lack of empirical evidence for the collective unconscious, viewing it as a theoretical construct rather than a scientifically proven concept. But while the concept of collective unconsciousness remains a topic of debate, its influence is evident in various fields, from psychology to literature, mythology, and the arts. It offers a fascinating lens through which to explore the interconnected aspects of human experience.
Indeed, it does. That is sensational, Amanda. So this week's topic really does build on from our previous episodes. So particularly last week when we were talking all about archetypal images. So if anyone missed last week's show, go back and have a listen, because this week's show will resonate even more once you get a bit of the backstory. But even still, as a standalone topic, it's really, really interesting. So thank you. Thank you, Amanda. I can't wait to get into our next segment.
Yes.
Which is
Curious Conversations,
where I get to ask Amanda questions about today's topic of the collective unconsciousness and sound therapy. Now, as you've probably guessed, I'm going to dive right into the neurological aspects of that, all those things that you touched on. Now, I promise I won't hijack the entire segment with it, but I do, find that sort of stuff fascinating. So,
okay,
you talked about the mirror neurons and the universal neural structures. How might our brains respond to certain archetypal symbols during sound therapy? And are there any specific examples or studies that shed light on this neurological aspect?
Okay, great question. So, like we discussed, mirror neurons are a type of brain cell that fires both when an individual performs an action and when they observe someone else performing that same action. This mirroring effect extends to emotions and sensations. In the context of sound therapy, exposure to archetypal symbols, often conveyed through specific frequencies, tones, or musical patterns, can trigger mirror neurons. The brain perceives these symbolic sounds and mirrors the emotional and sensory aspects associated with them. This phenomenon is linked to the concept of resonance, where the vibrational qualities of sound resonate with neural patterns, creating a shared experience.
Okay.
Several studies in the neuroscience and psychology field have explored the impact of sound and archetypal symbols on the brain. For example, research using functional magnetic resonant imaging,
right?
So fMRI, yes,
okay,
has shown that certain musical patterns and tones activate regions of the brain associated with emotions, memory, and the processing of symbolic meaning.
Yes.
Studies have also demonstrated that cross-cultural universality of neural responses to specific sound patterns, supporting the idea that certain themes are ingrained in the human psyche. One notable example is the work of Dr. Oliver Sacks,
Oh, yes.
a neurologist and author who documented cases where individuals with neurological disorders experienced profound emotional and cognitive responses to music.
Yep.
These responses often transcended individual differences, suggesting a shared neural foundation for the emotional impact of certain sounds.
Oh, wow. Like, now he wrote Awakenings. Now, that became a really famous movie. That was the one with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams, I think. And he wrote that book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
Yes, that's right. That's the very same person.
Okay.
Yes.
So this topic has triggered a bit of an empath moment for me. So being brought up in kind of typical white bread Anglo kind of way, like many, I was taught to ignore feelings or just kind of treat them as, inconveniences and, just carry on. And I would imagine that kind of manifests by not working through those in all sorts of other ways.
Yes. So it's like we need a bit of couch time now.
Well, that's what we do this for. This is my couch time every week. Yes, tell me about your childhood, Stephen. Yes. No, seriously, this topic really taps into the idea of people who have an innate ability to empathise or be an empath, as they say, and also recognise people's ability to have that sixth sense for things, yeah?
Yes, most definitely. The concept of the collective unconsciousness can be correlated to empaths and the sixth sense of the sensory perception. The collective unconscious refers to the part of the unconscious mind shared by all human beings, containing universal experiences, memories, and symbols. Empaths are individuals who are highly sensitive to the emotions and energies of others, and they can tap into this collective unconscious in unique ways. Empaths often experience a heightened ability to tune into the emotions of others. The collective unconscious, being a big sea of shared human experience, can contribute to a shared emotional resonance. So empaths may pick up on emotions that are not just individual but part of a broader collective emotional fabric. So the collective unconscious is rich in archetypal symbols that carry universal meanings. Empaths may intuitively connect with these symbols, translating them into sensory impressions. So this can manifest as a sixth sense, allowing empaths to perceive subtle energies and information way beyond conventional sensory input.
Yes.
And empaths often excel in non-verbal communication and may sense unspoken emotions or thoughts. The collective unconscious, being a reservoir of shared symbols and archetypes, might facilitate non-verbal communication through subtle cues, vibrations, or energies that empaths are attuned to. And the collective unconscious is shaped by shared human experiences, including cultural narratives, myths, and symbols. And empaths may draw upon these shared experiences to gain insights into the experience of others. And that is creating a deeper understanding that goes beyond the individual level. So, our friend Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity.
Yes.
Coincidence of events that are not casually related. Empaths may experience synchronicities as their heightened sensitivity allows them to notice subtle connections and patterns in the collective unconscious, leading to intuitive insights. The collective unconscious provides a framework for understanding how empaths access a shared collection of these human experiences, symbols, and emotions. This connection can contribute to their ability to perceive and interpret sensory information beyond the ordinary.
Oh, yeah.
It encompasses a sixth sense that transcends individual boundaries.
Yes, even now, after all my efforts to be open-minded to this kind of thing, my conditioning still continues to spook me when this happens, because last time I really remember it happening was at a market. I think we were down in Byron. I was talking to another guy who was a stall holder, and he just kept finishing my finishing my sentences, and then told me about who I needed to go and see about a particular issue, and he did it without me saying anything to him about it. So I'm a lot more open to seeing that sort of thing now and hearing that sort of thing. And the interesting thing is I don't think he even knew he was actually doing it. It was just something that kind of flowed through him. And I got to say, I did find it disconcerting, I guess, a little bit to begin with. But once I settled into it, it was actually quite impressive.
Yes, yep. Some people are just naturally tuned in.
Yes. Okay, well, another question. So can you tell us about a time maybe where you've had to work with someone, either an acquaintance or a friend, or where you had to help them understand their ability to tune into their extrasensory perception?
Many people with the tuning forks in the crown and the third eye. So
Yes.
once we start working in this area and we start to recalibrate the energy center, so we're actually dissipating the charge of emotions like I'm not intuitive, I can't trust myself, these type of energies, once they move, the person on the table starts to get their own sensory perception really starting to move forward. So I will be working with them. They're sharing about what they would like in their life, and when I'm combing in the field with the fork in those areas, their ideas rapid fire come through. It's like this channel has been cleared, and their perception on being able to pick up new ideas, things that are in their realm of possibility, just explode.
So you can see it, but can they see it?
Oh, absolutely, because they haven't had that before.
So do they see it straight away?
Oftentimes it's like on fire like this. They just keep
right.
coming through and through and through. And sometimes they actually need that extra work with the tuning forks and somebody who knows what areas to work in, and then it just stays with them. I have one person that I worked with for a long time, and now they're just going and doing amazing things in this particular field that they were hoping that would take off. And the things that we discussed in there, it's like the tuning forks amplified those dreams that they were talking about, and they're on the path.
Yeah, okay.
We were talking the other day, and they're actually doing it.
Yeah, right.
So it's like a superhighway.
Trusting
opens
themselves.
Up. Yeah.
Trusting that sense of...
Yes, because for so long they've been told, no, that's not right, you're not right, you can't, suppressed, a lot of shame. And once you shift those perceptions of yourself, that extrasensory perception just opens up.
Yeah, I get that. It can be very hard to convince people who aren't into woo-woo that, this isn't all woo-woo, and especially been brought up in that kind of way.
Yeah, it's self-belief. It's believing in yourself and not believing those people who limited you with their own self-doubt and their own self-hate and their own limiting ways of being.
Indeed. Okay, so I do have some other questions though. So and one around, so many traditional practices involving sound aim to induce like altered states of consciousness, so how do these altered states, how do they potentially like open a gateway to the collective unconscious, and what role do tuning forks play in facilitating that journey?
We've already talked about
Okay.
shamanic drumming It's a traditional technique used by indigenous cultures for healing and spiritual exploration. The repetitive rhythm of the drum induces trance-like states and altering consciousness.
Okay.
Now, participants often report encounters with archetypal figures, symbolic landscapes, and suggest a connection to the collective unconscious. Singing bowls, they're used in Tibetan and Himalayan cultures for meditation and healing. The harmonic overtones produced by singing bowls can induce altered states of consciousness. Practitioners might experience visions, symbols, or insights that resonate with universal themes found in the collective unconscious. Tuning fork therapies.
Yes.
So they involve using specific frequencies to resonate with different aspects of the body and mind. The vibrational frequencies of tuning forks can entrain the brain, promoting relaxation and altered states. Individuals undergoing tuning fork sessions may report accessing deeper insights, symbolic imagery, or a sense of connection to universal themes. Healing.
The didge.
So they're used by Australian Aboriginal cultures for healing and ceremony. The low frequency vibrations of the didgeridoo can induce trance states. So participants may describe experiences involving ancestral connections, animal spirits, or symbolic journeys.
Yep.
Mantras and chanting. So mantras and chanting are integral to various spiritual traditions. They have repetitive vocalizations and can alter consciousness and facilitate a meditative state. So practitioners may report encounters with archetypal energies, leading to a sense of unity with broader human experiences.
That is fantastic. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks again for answering all my questions. This topic's really interesting. And to be honest, I think I would love to be able to revisit it in more depth some stage in the future.
Yeah, I really would too. There's so much more we can talk about.
Yep.
You know, the mind is very powerful, and I know there is about only using 10% of our brain, which I know has been proven to be not true. But personally, I think the quote more talks to the potential of what the mind can do. And as they say, it is a known unknown.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. The human mind is a powerful thing, and I think the pursuit of trying to unlock its potential is a noble one. So yes, thanks again for that, Amanda. Molto apprezzato. So that brings us to the moment in time that we refer to as the Harmony and Practice segment, where Amanda Mackay, our sound therapist and expert, gives us some practical tips on how to incorporate tuning forks and wellness strategies into our everyday lives. So, what have you got in store for us this week, Amanda?
Look, I know it's a bit off topic, but I thought today's topic has been a bit of a big one. So I thought we would talk about how to give yourself a tuning fork facial massage.
Oh, lovely.
To our Instagram page, I did actually post a little video on this morning, so you'll be able to see what I'm talking about, not just listen. So you use a weighted tuning fork, maybe a 174 or a 128 hertz, and you attach one of our little tuning fork boots, because it has a really nice smooth edge, so it's going to move across the skin really nicely. Now, you need to make sure that your skin is clean. So you don't want to be coming in after doing some gardening or being outside and sweating or anything like that. So
you
need to clean the face. So you should be cleansing your face. And then you can apply just a fractionated coconut oil, which fractionated means it's just a liquid form, because that's really nice and neutral for most people. Make sure you're not using any products that have an active ingredient like an AHA, no hot oils that might be too stimulating because the fork is vibrating on the skin. So you've cleansed your skin, you've put on your fractionated coconut oil or some other beautiful type of oil, maybe a rose hip, and you'll activate your tuning fork. So you strike the weights of the fork against your activator, and then you take the boot end and you're actually putting that on your face. So you can leave it in one spot until the vibration runs out, and then you can activate it and put it on the same spot again. And you can just move it around the face like that, always starting at the middle, working to the outside, because our lymph flows to the outside and then down the neck into the lymph glands, into the armpit area. So again, go to the Instagram post because it will show you exactly what I'm talking about. And you can actually run the boot across the face. It will glide, again, starting from maybe underneath the eye outward to the hairline. And it really helps to encourage the lymph flow, the blood to flow a bit more freely. You'll actually feel like the muscles are softer because we hold so much tension and stress in our faces. We don't express everything that we want to either often, so those emotions can be held in the face. So we're really softening up those muscles, and it can help with any jaw pain that you might have if you're clenching your teeth in the night. It'll help soften all of those things up. So I would really encourage you to get over and have a look at that video, because you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. And it can really relax you down after a long day. It just really puts you into a blissful space, and you can feel the vibration. It stays in the face, so it feels really rejuvenated and energized. And you'll be surprised at how amazing that feels, and you get that little buzz in your face.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Haven't you got some tuning forks that are specifically for this type of thing?
Oh yes, we do have our facial tuners as well. They're shorter tuning forks, so they're a little bit easier to handle.
To use them both at the same time?
Well, you can.
Wow.
I'd start with one
Mm-hmm.
and then get the handle of using two at a time, because that can take a little practice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can use two. You could put them like in the middle of the forehead and then just moving them out to the edge of the hairline at the same time.
Yep.
And just feeling that nice, beautiful vibration going from the surface of the skin, and it goes right down into the dermis.
Into the dermis.
Well, there's a layer there. Like the epidermis is quite thick, and then you get down to the dermal layer.
Yes.
And then that attaches in with all the subcutaneous level, and then that goes down into the muscles.
Is that called the prodermis? So you've got your epidermis, your dermis, and your prodermis?
No.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
All right, I was just sort of shooting a bit of Latin there. Just hoping that might actually work. Well, look, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have a crack at it. I'll be looking 20 years younger by the time you see me next.
Maybe.
That was a long silence.
But
Felt like a long silence.
I do use these all the time on my own skin, and I really love it. And everybody's talking about how the cost of living is a little bit expensive.
Oh, they
but
are.
if you're using tuning forks, this is a way to get your natural glow going, and you can do it every day yourself. You're not having to go anywhere, and you get that blood flowing, and it's just like, it's such a treat to be able to do that for yourself every day.
It does sound like a treat.
It is. I love this stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, look, for sure. Look, can you believe it? We're already at the end of the show.
Oh, okay.
So, you know what? This begs the question, Amanda. What have we got coming up next week?
Okay, next week we have a look into a metaphysical divination system that I've been working with for a very long time, numerology.
Oh,
Love this. So the idea that numbers contain vibrations and energies that can affect people's personalities, behaviors, and life path is so interesting. And, how this all fits within vibrational frequencies and sound.
now, that one is going to be a good one. Yes, yes. Ring the pun bell. Lucky numbers and all that. One's got to be good, right? That kind of stuff.
Yes, one is new beginnings.
Right.
Yeah. So they will be getting into life path numbers, destiny numbers, soul urge numbers, just to name a few.
Very good. So now it is time for your final thought to round out the week for us all.
Okay, well, it would be obvious to use a Jungian quote here, but a quote that seems to be coming into my head at this very moment is actually a John Lennon line.
Oh, okay.
And that is, "You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one." And I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live as one.
Nice.
This line directly speaks to the realms of collective unconsciousness and the harmonics of sound therapy. And let us remember that we all are interconnected and we're resonating with the universal frequencies that bind us together. So embracing the symphony of life, tuning into the wisdom of your inner self, and let the vibration of harmony guide you on your journey towards a greater well-being and understanding.
That is fantastic. Never looked at that particular lyric in that way before. They are truly beautiful words from the poet that was John Lennon, so very fitting and totally apt for what we've been talking about today. So thanks, Amanda. Now, once again, it's that time where I say thanks to all our lovely listeners and thank you to all of those who get in contact with us. So please go and check us out at biofieldbeing.com.au for all your tuning fork and wellness wants and needs. You can reach out to us via the email at hello@biofieldbeing.com.au or on Facebook or Instagram, or whatever your preference. So in the meantime, stay safe, be happy, and we might see some of you at Mind, Body, Spirit in Sydney, but if we don't, we'll see you next week on Tune In to Sound Wellbeing.
Are you a fan of classic cinema or a young person who wants to discover the best films of all time? Do these legendary movies still hold up?
On the Generation Film podcast, two guys who grew up when movies dominated the culture share a great film with a panel of young movie lovers and see how it plays for today's generation.
We discuss changes in storytelling styles, representation,
The making of each film, its initial reception, and how its meaning has changed over the years.
Join us as we explore cinema classics across generations on Generation Film.
Electricast.
Hey, what's happening out there, everybody? This is Lawrence Ross, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my podcast, The Lawrence Ross Show.
Egomaniac.
It's a 2-hour weekly exploration into my mind. I also do sketches, celebrity impersonations.
You're out of order!
And I also do song parodies. Not too shabby for a blind guy.
Not only are you visually impaired, but you are geographically impaired.
New episodes are released every Friday. Check it out on your favorite podcasting platform or listen to it here on Society 13 on Electricast.
Electricast.